Hey guys, it's Dr. Justin Marcagiani here. Really excited to be chatting with y'all today. Today we're going to be talking about heavy metal detoxification and why the gut is so important. I'm really excited to dive in. Before we do, make sure you smash that like button. It really helps with the search algorithm. And also put your comments down below. I want to know your experience with heavy metal detox. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notifications of my content in your news feed. Awesome. All right, guys, let's dive in. What's cooking? So heavy metals are a concern, right? We're going to get exposed from heavy metals from all different kinds of sources, from mercury in the teeth to lead in different petroleum byproducts or things in the soil. Lots of different places where you can get exposed to a lot of these things. So there's different testing. So there's three major tests you can do. You can do a hair analysis. I'm not a huge fan of a hair analysis because part of how our body detoxifies is via the hair. It's going to push stuff through the hair, kidneys, right, liver, stool. And so if you see it in the hair, that means it's not in the body, right? So you're actually effectively detoxifying it. So people that do a hair test that see that it's low, they may say, "Hey, I'm set, right? My hair mineral analysis test came back good." Well, you may have poor detoxification. That's why it's not in the hair. That's number one. Blood's a good marker, but it's more acute. So if your kid's, eating lead paint or something, or you're getting exposed from a drop mercury thermometer, whatever the reason is, yeah, an acute exposure, you'll see it more in the blood. Your body's very fastidious about getting metals out of the blood because it's a lot of oxidative stress. It's very damaging to the body. So the body wants to sequester it in tissue pretty fast. And then there's urinary testing, which is helpful. I mean, I like urinary testing, especially when you use a challenge agent like DMPS or DMSA, because you get a window into what the tissue burden is for a lot of these metals. Now, if you're extremely sick, if you have a lot of issues, you may want to hold off on doing any heavy metal detoxification or maybe even any testing until you have some stability. But the urine test gives you a much better window of the heavy metal burden. Now, you can easily do a pre and a post, meaning pre without a DMSA or a mercury or heavy metal chelator like DMSA is one, DMPS is my favorite, and there's EDTA, which is more specific to lead. And there are more gentle binders that kind of help as well, like modified citrus pectin, various clays, green clays, activated charcoals, zeolites. These compounds are really good at pulling different things out. But in general, I like the urine, and you can even combine it with a pre without a challenge agent and then a post with a challenge agent. That way you can kind of see where your tissue burden of the metals are. And I like that test. I've seen a lot more results of higher metals, and I've even done them pre and post. People say, well, you're getting a false high reading because you're taking the chelation agent. Well, my whole premise is if the metals aren't there, it can't pull what's not there. So if you're taking it and it's there, it's not pulling it out of thin air, it's in the tissues and pulling it out. And so that's really helpful. Now, if you're going to support heavy metal detox, I typically do only a few days on of a DMPS or a DMSA, and then 7 to 11 days off. So I don't do a lot of that in a row. We'll do other compounds like citrus pectins and binders and glutathione precursors and things like that, sulfur-rich compounds to help aid in detoxification. But I don't come in with heavy-duty chelation guns for a while. One, you can deplete minerals, and two, we don't want to pull out too much heavy metals at once and overwhelm the system. Now, people forget when you're dealing with metals, the gut is a major way that the body detoxifies. It uses the hepato, that's liver, biliary, gallbladder system. So it's liver, gallbladder dumping into the intestinal tract. So if we have good digestion, we can move those toxins out into the stool and into the toilet. If we don't, we could potentially reabsorb it, etc. So we really, when people think about heavy metal detoxification, by just getting your food right and your diet right and getting good sulfur-rich compounds in your vegetables and your food, all of these are going to make a huge difference in helping to decrease your heavy metal load. I always work on adrenals and get the hormones under control because releasing metals can be inflammatory. So we want to make sure your hormonal systems that deal with stress and inflammation and sleep and mood and recovery are all online and functioning at 100%. That way, when we pull out metals, we can do so in a way where your body can handle it. And I'm kind of slow and steady guy with the metals versus I really do it all at once. So that's kind of how I do it. And I'll use different things. I use my heavy metal clear product. I'll use a little bit of DMPS. I'll use some extra binders as well. And we'll kind of cycle it on a couple of days followed by a break, especially with the DMPS or the specific heavy metal chelators. And you got to be careful. I've seen patients go at it way too hard too soon, and they feel like crap. And I see a lot of patients, they come in and they don't ever address any of the gut stuff, and they go into it and they can feel really, really bad. I've seen a colleague of mine actually did a heavy metal chelation and had part of his body paralyzed because he released too much heavy metals and it killed neurons. So you got to be very, very careful. When in doubt, slow and gentle, and wait till you have better stability and better gut function before you go at it. So hope that makes sense. But mercury and lead are the big ones. Lots of different places these things can be exposed to. Fish is one, fillings are one. There's a couple other places we really can't talk about on this video. You can guess why. And then, of course, just industrial gasoline byproducts and potentially coal and things like that. It depends. A lot of places filter out a lot of the lead in the coal, but some don't. So it just depends upon if we're talking old or new technology. I think a lot of the newer technology does clean a lot of that byproduct out. And then, of course, potential heavy metals in pesticides. So one of the best things you can do to help with heavy metals is to be eating organic, high-quality vegetables, sulfur-rich vegetables, high-quality animal products, drinking lots of clean filtered water loaded with lots of good natural healthy minerals. That's your first step. And then if you want to do light detoxification, the easiest thing is sweating. So infrared sauna is very helpful. Make sure after a 15-20 minute sauna session, you're taking in fluids, minerals, get a good 10% sulfur-rich soap. You can get them on Amazon. Soap your body up and then make sure you rinse off, because a lot of those toxins that come out can be fat soluble and they'll just sit on your skin surface and you'll reabsorb them that, later on that day when your skin and when those toxins dry up and absorb back in your skin. So good sulfur rich soap just to strip all that back off and have it go down the drain. So I hope that helps, just to give you guys an idea of heavy metals, the different testing. Some people say the urine test isn't good. I like it because of the tissue burden. I've seen studies on hair where people that actually have better detoxification show more metals in the hair. So much bigger fan of looking at metals in the urine via challenge test. And if you want to be extra scientific, you can do a pre and post with a challenge agent and without. That way you can compare. All right, I hope that helps. Let me dive into questions. If you guys are enjoying this content, put it down below. Let me know right now. Give me a thumbs up. If you're dealing with heavy metal issues, let me know. And if you want to work with someone like myself, a trained functional medicine doctor in this area, feel free and click down below. You'll see a link where you can schedule with myself and or my staff here to help. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed today's content. Let's go into some live questions. Okay, let's roll. Please help with the synovial inflammation. So knee inflammation. So the synovial sac, I think that covers the bursa and a lot of the cartilaginous tissue. Got to get to the root issue. How did you hurt it, right? What was the mechanism of injury? And do you have your diet on track? Do you have an anti-inflammatory nutrient-dense diet? And do you have extra nutrients to help with inflammation? Collagen, higher dose fish oil, vitamin C. You could even do systemic enzymes, liposomal curcumin. These are all really, really good things to help with the inflammation. But gotta get to the root cause though. Don't really know with that quick message though. What's the best test for selenium? You could do like a red blood cell selenium, or a selenium that may be tested on like a SpectraCell or a Nutri-Eval or ion panel. That's good. Getting mold removed from the kitchen could be black. What can we do outside of the air purifiers to clean the air and retest afterwards? Well, make sure, get a mold company that's going to do it. Have them do it in a negative air containment. Try to do the cleaning with products that are not going to be nasty, meaning like a corncrobium or something that may create more metabolites afterwards. Here's a pretty cheap product that you can use. Well, I use the BioBalance solution, and then typically I would topically hit it with a 20% hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide, acetic acid is good. That's great. Some use another citrus product as well. You could combine them. You probably would want to use multiple. I would dry fog later just to help. There's a product called Benefect, benefect.com, and they have kind of some good citrus-based disinfectants. So you could do that with a combination of some acetic acid. Make sure everything's cut away, cleaned. Use that afterwards, negative air containment, air scrubbers, and then you can make sure you have a good air purifier afterwards. So if you go to my site, justinelt.com/shop, you'll see in the recommended products some of the air filters that I use and recommend. Great questions, great questions. Daughter's fingernails always pitted. Yeah, probably issues with minerals, zinc, and protein. Got to look at the gut. Would you do an adrenal test before doing a heavy metal test if a person has respiratory issues and low immune function? Yes, I would definitely work on the adrenals first. That helps with inflammation and energy and immune. Do we hold on to metals due to being deficient in minerals? It's always possible, right? Because having good minerals may allow you to flush out metals. So making sure you have good minerals, whether it's a good sea salt or drinking good mineral-rich water during the day, or you add a trace mineral supplement, are all good ideas. Genova organic acid test better or oat? I like Genova better, but I will run oat test on patients if I suspect oxalate issues, joint pain, weird oxalate stuff, kidney issues, I'll do it. But they're both really good, but Genova is my favorite. You mentioned mold candles on your podcast. Can you send me a link to those or speak a little bit more about them? Yes, CitraSafe is a good one. If you have just very low levels of mold and you've made sure there's no leaks and humidity's good and all that stuff's good, good air filter and a mold candle, you may just be enough to help keep everything at a good level. That's fine. Citrasafe.com. What does weather temperature, why does weather temperature start nose running and cold symptoms? I think it has to do with barometric pressure, I think, a lot of that. I think that'd be the big thing. Barometric pressure and that'd be the big thing. Ectopic beats, low body temp, 35.5. I'm guessing that's Celsius. Neck pain and vomiting all come together, then disappears. I mean, I would look at maybe some kind of an infection, obviously. Not sure. I would need more information. But if it's a low body temp, usually body temp goes high, right? So low body temp's weird, neck pain, vomiting. I would need to know a lot more about why or how that happened. Was it a food poisoning episode? Were you around someone that was sick? Really hard to know that. Can coffee be bad for the sinuses? I mean, depends. If coffee potentially could create some kind of a histamine issue, and histamine could cause vasodilation and draining of the sinuses, so it's possible. Again, making sure coffee is high quality, right? Organic, good, clean, dry roasted, like good brand, ideally organic if possible, so you don't have any pesticides, and the nutrient value in the coffee is really good. That's awesome. And as long as you can tolerate it, people that can't tolerate caffeine, try a decaf version or add in a high quality ghee or butterfat and MCT oil, blend it up, maybe add some collagen, but the fat will kind of time release that coffee and make it so it doesn't hit you as hard. It's kind of like sipping on a glass of wine versus taking a shot of hard alcohol. You get a little more gradual of approach of absorption. If your diet's dialed in, what would you do to boost your immune system? Having started ginger and turmeric, vitamin C, D, and zinc, would you suggest as a big first step? That's pretty good. So D, zinc, maybe some NAC or glutathione and some reishi mushroom. That's pretty good there. You know, assuming that diet's good and sleep's good and there's some decent movement in there and you're feeling pretty good, those would be maybe the reishi and some NAC or glutathione. That's pretty good though. Good job. All right, excellent questions, y'all. Really appreciate it. So if you have heavy metal issues, feel free to reach out to me down below. We can get tested. I do a urinary challenge test, pre and post. Those are all good options if you want to reach out. Hope you enjoyed today's video. The spelling of the candles, just go to citrasafe.com, citrasafe.com, and you should be able to find it. Tell them I sent you. I'll put a link below the video here later on. All right, y'all, have a good one. Take care. Bye.